digital marketing, all the different channels, a lot of artists have a lot more control over their brand and can more directly reach their audience. Do you think that that's changed their reliance on music labels a bit?
It has. There's certainly more ability by an independent artist to make it on their own. They have to be extremely ambitious and they have to really work hard at getting themselves the right exposure that they need. And it can happen. It's not impossible. But one thing that I will say that a lot of people don't really realize when they say, oh, I don't need a record company, I can get my Apple Mac Pro Tools and make my album on my computer and put it out and go on tour and I'll make the money myself and I don't have to split it with a record company. The record company has something called leverage. The record company has a roster of artists that are, maybe multi-million sellers or superstar artists. Like on Atlantic, maybe you have Coldplay or the Led Zeppelin catalog or Cardi B and Wiz Khalifa, or at Universal, at Republic Records, they've got Post Malone and Taylor Swift. Mm-hmm. And if you're signed to that record company and you're a new artist that nobody knows, that record company can go to a radio station and say, if you play that new single by my guy, Post Malone, then I'll give you backstage passes when the Weeknd tours, because the Weeknd's on Republic. So you have that leverage. You can use your roster of artists to promote your new and up and coming artists. And that's the reason why people ultimately need to still sign with record companies and why record companies still have power. But once the artist gets to a certain level of popularity and notoriety, then they don't really need the record company anymore, because then they've built up their awareness and built up their sales base and their fan base. So they really can kind of take over their own careers.
Right.
So that's where you see somebody like, there was a guy, Frank Ocean was an artist on Island Records. You probably know him. Okay. Right. So Frank Ocean, brilliant artist, right? Mm-hmm. He signed with Island Records initially, and they bankrolled the making of his first album. Really, really creative guy, got critical praise for the album. And after a certain bit of time, he realized, I really don't need these guys anymore. I really can make my own music. And so I'm just going to make my own record and I'm going to put it out and I'm not going to give it to the record company. Mm-hmm. And the record company sued him because he was under contract and he really didn't have the right to do what he did without working with the record company and at least giving them a piece of what he was doing. There is a negotiation that needs to take